Separate facts from the fiction. Live hood, see what's under your engine. Anywho, we in and we flexing. Drive fast, got a nasty addiction. Separate facts from the fiction. Live hood, see what's under your engine. Anywho, we in and we flexing. Drive fast, got a nasty addiction. Chicago to Yabuco, while we wildin', you know we riding. Do it for the fam back on the island. Go so hard, we ain't playing, I promise. MR2, you know how we do. Custom made, everything brand new. Hit a red right before the burn, pulling off like a scab when he make the turn.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nasty Addiction Garage. My name is Jeremy, and today's episode has been requested by popular demand. So recently made a video based on the vents on the Dash. And if you guys want to see that, you guys can see the links below. I do have a link below on that video, but it's supposed to repair your lifting dash. But make sure you guys check out the link below. The video is going to be based on how to remove your Toyota MR2 Dash, guys. This video is going to be an easy and quick step-by-step way on how to remove your Toyota MR2 Dash, guys. So let's get into it. Let's just jump into this project. Let's go. Alright guys, so I know you guys seen that I made a video on the MR2 dash vents. So let me get this out of your way. So as you guys can see, the dash currently has no vents. What I did do is remove the vents. I did make a video, and you guys can see the link down below for that video. But I did put everything back together again, so then I can make this video for you guys. You guys did request it, so I do want to do it and satisfy you guys, and hopefully you guys get a lot of knowledge out of this. And if you guys do, please make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to my videos. And I look forward to putting out content for you guys. So let's get this done here. We're gonna start at the driver's side of this MR2 Dash. So there are quite a few different screws. Let me see if I can turn on the light here. There we go. There are a couple screws that we do want to remove. It would be this one right here. There is a screw that you would have to remove here, a screw that you would have to remove here as well. You do, as you guys can see, this is snapped. This was my fault. I did break that. That was by mistake. But here, there's going to be a screw right here. And everything else kind of just comes out after removing the last screw right here. Which, as you guys can see, this sits right here. This one sits right here. There is one right down here, and your last one will be right here. At that point, what you guys can do is then just simply pull down, and this should fall completely down. There are clips on here that will allow you to will allow this to actually stay on, but you can see where all the mounting points are. You have a mounting point there, a mounting point right there, one right here. And lastly, you have your mounting point here, but remember I did mention that this is a broken piece that I have. So we will be removing this and then move on forward from there. So let's go. All right, guys, step number 2. So one thing here that I don't have, that I apologize for not having, is there's a shield, a black shield that is actually sits right under here. So this shield I sent out to go get powder coated. I was thinking of getting it carbon fibered, but that's stuff that you're not going to see, so it really doesn't matter. But I do have the mounting points here, and I do want to show you where they all do mount. So one would be right here. So these screws, I left them on here just because it's an easy reminder for me where these screws go without having to put them in a baggie and stuff like this, but it makes it easier for me. Here goes the second mounting point. So this screw right here is the second mounting point for that black shield that I tell you guys that it covers all the wires and kind of makes it look nice and clean. Second bolt is right here. Okay, don't forget this bolt. This one's easy to forget, guys, so don't forget that bolt. Third one right here, and these are all 10mm bolts if I'm not mistaken. Let's double check that. I do have tools up here. Let's see. I have a 10 right here. Let's double check. Make sure that these are all 10s. 100% a 10, 100% a 10, 100% a 10, and 100% a 10. So guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10mm bolts remove this shield that you will have to remove once you have removed the lower portion of the driver's side part of the dash. So as you guys see, we have the remaining of the dash still up and on. We will be going again step by step and removing this, but I wanted to start off with the driver's side because that is the more critical side that you're gonna have to do a couple more things on it, just so then you can adjust or finesse the dash to remove over the steering column. So guys, let's get to the rest of this dash removal and we'll go from there. So let's go. All right, guys, so on this section, you guys noticed that I did have the steering column already removed. I did this for specific purposes. These are just so fragile in removing. I really didn't want to break it. I really don't want to have to go buy another one. I do have one here in great condition, and I mean, it's in great condition, literally. Never removed it. This was the first time I removed it, and basically what we have here are all screws. I have all the screws here, and I will get a close-up basically on the screws that are removed and where they were removed from. So basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws that we need to remove. I did use a Phillips head screwdriver that works very well on all these bolts. Never had any issues with this thing. I got this thing from Home Depot. It's a Husky, kind of like a ratchet type screwdriver. Super simple, made it easy for me, but I did remove this, and I did it in this fashion just because I don't want to run the risk of breaking it. But ideally, when you're looking at this, this is not going to be up, but it will be down. So this is the way your steering column sits, so you will have to look from the bottom of your MR2 or from the floor of your MR2 up. And make sure you guys go pretty deep because these screws are in there pretty deep. You do want to remove all 4 of them and slowly pry this apart. Sometimes these pieces here, I don't know if you guys can see, but sometimes these clips here tend to, let me see if I can get a better close-up. These clips tend to break here, as you can see. They're intertwined there, so ideally a good little push up on both ends. You see it kind of clips in itself, so a little push on both ends outward and up. Make sure you're very you are careful doing this because you can break them. Same thing goes for the other side, guys. This is how deep these holes are, so you can kind of get a gist of how deep you have to go with your screwdriver, okay? So now that we got this off, we're going to move on to the next portion that involves lowering the steering column. So that would be part 4. Let's go. All right, guys, as I was speaking about part 4, now that you guys have this section removed, that metal piece removed, there are 2 bolts that you're going to need to remove, or not necessarily remove, but loosen to be able to adjust the steering column to get the dash over the steering column without ruining any of your your turn signals or your tilts or your windshield wiper windshield wiper handle. So it's these 2 bolts right here. It's this one right here, and as you can see on this side, there is literally one right here. I've already loosened these. As you can see, let's see if I can get a better view here. It's kind of hard to, let's see, 1 second. There goes that bolt right here. So if it's looking directly under the steering column, these are your pedals. You look directly all the way up. You see your pedals? You look all the way up, and there are 2 bolts on each side of the steering column, which this one is right here. All right, and right on the other side, as you can see right here, is the other one. So you guys do want to make sure that these are loose. Let me see. I like to loosen them almost to the point where they are off, just because I like to get as much movement as I can on these steering column bolts. So these are both 14, guys. Let's double check that with the 14 ratchet bit. So the 14 does fit perfectly fine, as you guys can see. So again, so you guys can get a better understanding of how this looks. So this is where we're at. Level, you go under. Right here is one of the bolts, and the other one is literally right on this side. Okay, so that is part 4, guys. So we want to make sure that you can move your steering column up and down kind of freely almost. That allows you to move the steering column enough just to lift the dash over it, because this section gets kind of tricky trying to remove it. All right, guys. So next we're going to start removing things like the center console along with all the other little bezels and go from there, guys. So let's go. And now removing the center console, there are a couple bolts, not necessarily bolts, they're actually screws that you would need to be removing. This one here, this one here, you have one here and you'll have some up here. If you do have the CD box, this would be your mounting point. So you do have a bracket here and here. There are two screws that you will be removing that are inside the bracket or inside the CD box. These two here are on the lower portion of the CD box, and they are all visible and very easy to remove. So these that you removed here and here, you're going to do the same thing on this side here. So you have one right there, and then you have another one right back out here. So that would be very easy to just unscrew those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. You remove those 6 bolts along with these 2 bolts that literally go right here. So these 2 bolts need to be removed to be able to remove the whole dash. And at this point, the dash can be just literally lifted just like this and brought out. So here goes one section of what we worked at so far, and this was another section that we worked at so far. So remember, guys, this is the under portion of the dash that goes right under there, and right behind this literally is that metal shield that I was telling you guys about that I currently don't have currently. So far we've done 2 things so far. So we got the center console out and the lower portion of the dash. So now we're going to start working on everything else, like all the bezels, the ashtray, and so forth, guys. So let's go. All right, guys, we're moving on to part 6, which is going to be removing the bezels. We're going to do the steering bezel. We're also going to do the instrument panel. We're also going to remove this little bezel here that goes over the instrument panel. We are also going to remove the radio bezel. All these are pretty easy, along with the ashtray as well. All these are pretty easy to remove. So let's get to it, guys. Let's go. Alright, guys, what you guys see me do was just remove the radio bezel in itself. So there is one screw here that is attached to basically your underneath, like this underneath metal piece with the actual plastic piece that goes there as well. Usually you can't pull this out without removing that portion first. So that's why I did it this way. Just I wanted to take the bottom section of the dashboard out first, because everything else becomes a little easier. So if you go the way that I just showed you, this section would be off already, and you won't have to worry about this little screw here being in your way to remove your radio dash bezel. So what you guys see me do was just kind of pull it out, and that's kind of all you really need to do. There are a couple things that you do have to look at on your bezel though. You do have your hazardous signal that you do have to remove, which is this plug here. That plug goes right into there. It's supposed to come out right from in here. So if I do this correctly, give me 1 second. This would be right here. So ideally I'll be removing this plug from this section here. And right here, I custom made this. I ordered this off of, I believe, Amazon. It is a USB port, and it has a, let me see if I can remove this. I don't have any nails or anything to open this, but it's just a USB port. It's a 3.1 USB port, but I wired it up here just so then I can have a positive and negative that needed to turn it on. It's red. It matches all my lights and stuff, which is really cool. But guys, we removed this section of the dash, and now let's move the rest of the bezels out. Let's go. All right, guys. One thing that I do want to add that I didn't mention in the last segment was basically this is the bezel to your ashtray. It's usually bolted in your bezel, your radio bezel is actually bolted into here. I'm missing the clip here that looks just like this. I'm missing a clip that goes right here. So there would be a screw here and here on your radio bezel before you can actually remove it. So don't forget those bolts, guys. These two bolts that would be on your radio bezel. Again, I don't have this plastic piece here or this metal piece here that actually allows me to screw in a bolt or a screw here, and this piece here on mine is broken, so ideally it would be this section here that I would be removing. It looks identical to this, just on this side. So don't forget these two bolts, guys. Don't forget these two bolts before removing your radio bezel, okay? So let's move on to the next one. So on this section of the bezels, you're gonna have a bolt here. This bolt needs to be removed along with this bolt right here. These are both going to be those screws, those same screws. None of these are actual bolts. I keep saying bolts, but they're really screws. So it's going to be a screw there and a screw here. It's a Phillips head screw, which then allows you to remove the dash. But you want to make sure that you loosen this section here after you loosen this screw that belongs right here. You want to loosen this up a little bit. It's gonna get a little tricky, so you're gonna want to pull towards you slowly. You also are gonna want to pull here slowly as well. So as you see, you're gonna have to finesse this in a way where you see that your tilt is actually in the way from removing this section of the dash, right? Or of your bezel. So what you're gonna have to do is put your tilt down and bring your steering column all the way far down as you can. So remember, you guys did take out those bolts you guys did loosen those bolts underneath, which do play a role here. This is the reason why you did remove them, or you did loosen them. Just so then you can have this section go down as far as you can. You don't want to ruin or damage any of your bezels. Believe me, guys, these things are getting more and more expensive. As you can see, this one is a carbon fiber one that I had made. I had to dig it up out of storage just so then I could make the video, so then you guys can actually see the things in place, because I felt weird about trying to explain things that aren't there. Yeah, this was going to be the easiest way to do it. So, like I was saying, you're going to need to finesse this a little bit. So you want to bring your bezel as far towards your steering column as you can at this point, okay? You can either lift on this section, but you really can't, because then, you know, you're putting strain here at this section, right here where that button is. So what I like to do is trying to get this out as far as I can first. There you go. So usually that comes out just like this. But you see, we have a plug here. This is to dim your lights on your instrument cluster. So we want to make sure that we remove this here. These plugs are not the easiest to remove one-handedly. So let's try this. Yeah, there we go. So here we go, guys. So this actually then just comes out just like that. It's a very simple way to remove, as you guys can see back here. There's no real anything holding it, just these clips here and this one screw there. There's another clip here that holds on to this, but this is kind of how it looks. I'd like to reinforce all my vents when I remove them with some tape. Sometimes I like doing this, sometimes I don't, just because these little clips can be, like this one right here, can be so fragile, and I think looks like it's broken. Oh yeah, it is broken, as you guys can see. These clips are fragile, so I try to reinforce them with tape, or cover them with tape so they don't get destroyed. So we're here now at this section. We need to remove our instrument cluster and this instrument cluster bezel right up here. So remember earlier we did remove this screw here. There are going to be a screw here for your instrument cluster, a screw here for your instrument cluster, and a screw right here that is going to be for the other side of your instrument cluster bezel. So since these are already removed, and I did remove them, so remember this is going to be ideally the two bolts that are going to be removed for the actual instrument cluster bezel. So this, all you have to do is really just pull it down, give it a little bit of force, and there you go. These are held on by clips. So guys, remember, with using these clips are made really, really well, and you're gonna need to put a little bit of force into them. Don't rip them out like if you're like a Hulk or anything like that, but you know, finesse them out, like I said, because a lot of times these things have been in there and probably have never been removed. So you guys got to understand that behind this is almost still like factory, because I'm sure they haven't been removed in some cars, but there you go. So ideally, removing the bolt that, or the screw that goes here and the screw that goes here, removes your bezel that sits right above here, and you do have to give it some force to pull it out. And then removing that kind of shows you the last holes that you will need for your instrument cluster to be removed. So we already had removed these there, and then you're going to remove this one here and this one here, but we removed these two once we removed our bezel. So the next two that would be removed would be this one here and this one here, and your cluster should come out just like this. Very simple, very easy. You have some wires that are going to be attached, which would be these wires here. All these wires do attach to your cluster right in back, as you guys can see. Don't mind this. Don't mind these wires hanging from here. I had a V6 in here, so these were just to make the cluster work using the V6. But these plugs here, these all right here, all go into here properly. You also will have a on a 91, you'll have the cable wire that hooks up to the tranny as well. So now that we got those things removed, we're going to move on to the next step, and that's going to be going down here and removing the glove box and doing all that stuff down there first, and then moving on to the next step, which will be removing the actual bolts that go to the dash. So let's go, guys. We're moving on to part 7 of the removal of the dash. So we do have a couple screws that we do need to remove first. There are a couple hiding and 3 at the bottom. So the ones that are currently hiding are going to be these two. That one right there and that one right there. Both of those need to be removed before even thinking of removing the glove box. And then we have 3 down here. We have 1 that's right there, as you can see. And we have 2 more on this end as well. Once you remove all those bolts, guys, this whole glove box is a one-piece glove box, so it does just come out completely. And once you do that, you can actually see everything. You have a lot of access to the stuff that's back here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but like all of the AC stuff and heating core and air filter thing, like it's all back there, and I'll show you just a few minutes. All right, guys, with part 7 said and done, let's get these screws out and get this piece removed. All right, guys, now that that is removed, you guys can see you have full access to everything back here. In case you need to change anything out or unplug things or add things or do whatever you guys need. You guys have full access now to the back. One thing that I do have to mention to you guys that I am a big fan of is putting things in their proper spots. So, you know, I like to make little baggies like this, dash bolts to the bezel, glove box bolts, and dash bolts that are main dash bolts that actually connect the actual dash itself to the metal bar that goes across the behind the dash. But make sure you guys do this, guys. This is very, very important to make sure you save all your screws in the proper places. Make sure you label them and know what is what, so you guys don't get confused and lose these bolts, because it does and can get overwhelming if you don't keep track of things. Okay, guys, so let's make sure we put these bolts away, put them inside this baggie, and move on to the next part. Let's go. All right, guys, congratulations. You have made it to part 8. Part 8 is where you go ahead and remove all the bolts and screws that are attached to the main frame of the dash, basically. So I don't know if you guys noticed, there's a brown like rod or metal piece back there that runs from one end of the dash all the way to the other end of the dash. So that also helps with mounting points to keep the dash secure in the car. So what we're going to be doing today on this section, we're going to be removing all the main bolts that are actually stopping us from pulling this dash completely out. There are quite a few of them. I'm going to go over them really quickly and where they're at. And then I'm going to do kind of like a speedy removal of all of those. You guys will see me doing that. I'm just going to time lapse it kind of quickly. But there are a couple sections we're going to go through right now. Okay, so let's go through that. So the first bolt we're going to be removing is right here by your front lever. It's right here. This bolt is going to have to be removed. The second bolt that's going to have to be removed is this centerpiece bolt here. So this bolt is literally right behind your instrument cluster. That bolt's going to have to be removed. It comes out in one piece, as you guys can see. Next bolt will be this one right here. After that would be this one right here. We have all these screws here, and it looks kind of weird, and I understand it doesn't. It probably doesn't look like this on you guys' MR2, but I will tell you what is in the place of these and what holds, or what bolts or screws hold what down in this section. Many of you guys have a radio up here, and you guys have your climate control down here. So these four bolts, this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here, all hold on to your climate control. These are very simple. All you have to do is screw these guys out. Right here, right here, right here, and right here. They all screw out perfectly fine. Once you screw those out, you can literally grab your climate control and bring it out. At this point, you would have to remove everything that's attached to it, which is relatively simple. You could remove all your plugs, and then you have things like this that are attached as well, and these are actually connected. Let's see if I can get a better picture. There we go. This right here, which are connected with a pin that secures to your climate control or to the section that it needs to go to, like your AC or whatnot, to allow the AC and you to be able to move the heat and the cool. Those are what those are for. Right up top here would be your radio bracket screws. So that's where your radio would go. Usually if you have a 2-DIN, it'll cover this whole section here, or if you have a 1-DIN and maybe like a little space or the cup holder things, it would be in this section here, and your radio would be up top. But all these screws will need to be removed. I like to remove all the ones that are actually attached to frames, because if you look back here, I don't know if you can see, not all of them are, but these back here are attached to frames. These back here are also attached to the metal frame that helps secure the dash in place. So we are going to be removing those guys. And we also have another one. I don't know if you can see right there in the center of the screen. That bolt is just like this bolt on this side, but on the other side would be on the passenger side. So that bolt right there, right here, let's see if I can point at it. This bolt right, oh wow, that's not gonna work. That bolt right there in the center of the screen is the one that's gonna need to be removed. So we'll be removing that as well. We do have one final little bolt that needs to be removed, and you will need a little tool to help you do this. I like using a flathead. It's relatively easy to get to, but a lot of people won't know it's there if you didn't watch this video. So we need to remove this here. So I like to pry this out. You can use a pry tool, or you can use a screwdriver like me. It's relatively easy. This piece comes right out, and there is a bolt that goes right in there, as you guys can see. So that bolt needs to be removed as well, but we do remove this vent. Okay, so this vent will need to be removed to get to that bolt that's right there. You will go crazy trying to remove this piece, or remove this whole dash, without removing that bolt. I spent probably an hour going through all this prior to removing this dash the first time. I thought this was going to be a way bigger project than what it was, but it wasn't, which made me really happy. But it took me a whole nother hour to find that stupid bolt. All right, so guys, don't forget that bolt. Remember, when you pry this out, be careful. These pieces are old and they do break, so do not get frustrated. Step away if you need to, but just come back to it and just pry it out slowly but surely. It'll come out. As you guys can see, nothing is broken, everything looks good, nothing is dented. And then we'll get to removing these bolts and we'll pull out this dash. Let's go. Well, guys, congratulations. This is the last and final bolt that you will need to remove the dash. So we're almost there. We're almost there. So let's remove this bolt and start pulling this dash out. So let's do it. All right, guys, as you guys seen, I did remove all those bolts and screws. So at this point right now, I want to show you guys something that I didn't notice until I was trying to remove the dash. So you see those yellow and orange clips over there? They run all along the side of the dash, closest to the windshield. You will have to pop those out. So the best way to do it is grabbing the dash from any section, maybe like a section like this, and pulling towards you. You see the way, once I pulled it towards me, it literally just popped out. You want to do that all along the edge. You can grab the bottom portion of the dash here, kind of pull out, and slowly kind of wiggle everything towards you. Be careful though, because as you see, you do get quite close to your steering column and all your handles for your tilt, your signals, your mist, and your windshield wiper stuff. So just be careful when you do it. I'm going to try to film a way that I can remove it easy so you guys can all see. But you guys sometimes are going to have to kind of figure it out on your own as well. Just kind of maneuver it and finesse it out of the way of things. But I'm going to try to record as much as I can of it while you guys watch me remove this. Okay, guys? So let's get to it. All right, guys, congratulations. You have removed an MR2 Dash. This is how it looks underneath. Very, very plain, very weird looking. It's a lot easier than a lot of you guys think, but you guys accomplished it. Congratulations. So this is what it looks like behind the dash. This is very, very, very interesting, very nice. To see what's actually behind here. You actually have access to everything. But I did show you guys all the bolts that need to be removed, if I'm not mistaken. Those are all of them on each bracket. But as you see, these orange plugs there, these things at first were so freaking hard to remove. After I removed it already once or twice, it's a lot easier. They clip in perfectly fine, but it's a lot easier to go in and out now. Like at first you have to literally like pull hard. Be careful with these pieces, guys. Remember, pulling hard can really damage these and sometimes even crack them. So be careful. Finesse things slowly. Take your time is all I can really say. Here goes all the parts that we removed that all pertain to the dash. So we have our dash here. We have removed the center console. We removed the vents. These vents are right here. We removed the radial bezel. We removed the steering column bezel, the ashtray bezel, the clamshell for the steering column, the instrument cluster bezel, the instrument cluster itself, and lastly the glove box. You guys seen it all here, guys. So this is how to remove your MR2 Dash. All right, everybody, that's going to conclude today's episode. So in today's episode, we did learn how to remove a Toyota MR2 Dash with 8 easy steps. I broke everything down into steps just to make it easy for you guys to understand and learn how to remove this dash and how it's really not that scary. So guys, please leave a comment below. If you guys like this video and gained any knowledge from what I've taught today, please remember, like, share, subscribe. It does help when you guys comment. Also, don't forget to pick up some merch, some Nasty Addiction merch, guys. We do have a Teespring link down below in the video description as well. Make sure you pick up yourself a shirt. It does help continue moving on, guys. So please pick up a shirt. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. This is Nasty Addiction. Remember, take care of yourself and each other, guys. Peace.
Separate facts from the fiction. Live hood, see what's under your engine. Any hood we in, know we flexing. Drop fast, got a nasty addiction. Separate facts from the fiction.